Okay, so first thing you want to do is draw yourself a couple of lines that are not parallel. We're not going to focus on the parallel right now, but we are going to give two lines. So one of them can be a little bit slanted like this. Put arrows on the end because it is a line. And the other one I'm going to purposefully not make it parallel. Make it a little more like this. Put arrows on the ends because it is a line. And then I want a third line that's going to intersect those two. Okay. So here you get your three lines. Use your ruler to do it. And because I have three lines, I'm going to name those lines. So we name lines with lowercase cursive letters. So one can be line M, one can be line N, and let's just call the other one line P. So if I were going to describe what we're happening here, I would say we have lines M and N that are cut by the transversal P. And we also have 8 different angles that have been formed because we have 2 different lines that have been cut by this transversal P. So a transversal is a line that will cut through 2 or more other lines, or intersect 2 or more other lines. I'm going to number these angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then I'm going to take my colored pencils and do a little bit of shading. So I'm going to shade up above line M. And using that same color, shade down below line N. Not too dark, because I'm going to want to write on top of this in just a second. But okay, and then I'm going to take a different color. I'm going to shade in between my 2 lines. So what I've now done is I've color-coded some very basic types of lines. I feel like very basic types of angles that have been formed when I have 2 different lines like M and N. The angles that are formed that are in the blue, they are inside my 2 lines, or interior. So we call those interior angles. So I'll say angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6 are interior angles. They're inside my lines. Then in green, we have angle 1, angle 2, and down here at the bottom, angle 7 and angle 8 that are outside my lines. So we say those are exterior angles. So those angles are exterior angles. Okay, so we use those interior and exterior angles to kind of help us to name 4 very specific types of angles that are formed anytime you have a transversal that cuts through 2 or more lines. There are names for these 4 very specific types of angles. So we want to give a chart with 4 boxes, a 2 by 2, and inside that 2 by 2 We're going to have titles of 4 different very specific types of angles that have been formed up here. Let's go ahead and draw in that table at the bottom. Make sure you have a lot of space because we're going to draw some things in it and we're going to write some things in it. And at the top of the first two, we're going to have a set called corresponding angles. And another set of angles called alternate interior angles. Another set called alternate exterior angles. And a final set called consecutive interior angles. Okay, now you want to take your ruler and you want to draw 2 lines cut by a transversal inside every single box. They don't all have to look the exact same way. I'm just going to have 2 lines. Here's 1. Here's 2. And here is the transversal. They're lines, so put arrows on the ends of them to show that they're lines and not line segments. Name them the same way you did up above, lines M and lines N, and then P the transversal. And then number those angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you need to put that in every box. I'm purposefully not making them look all the exact same to show you anytime you have any 2 lines that are cut by a transversal, you're going to have these relationships that we're going to talk about. Okay, so when we say corresponding angles, think about where you've heard the word corresponding before. What are some things that you have heard or thought of whenever you heard the words corresponding in your head? What'd you picture? So some things you might have heard are the same, matching, similar, they correspond, they match up. And that's what these angles, they do as well. They correspond or they match up to each other. So if I take angle 1, and I say In this other set of angles, which one matches up to angle 1 or is in the same location of angle 1? Well, that'd be angle 5. Good. If I take angle 2, and I say, well, what matches up to angle 2? Angle 6. If I take angle 3 and say, what matches up to angle 3? Angle 7. And angle 4, what matches up to it? Angle 8. Right. So corresponding angles, you just find the parts that match up. Okay, alternate interior angles. So this is where we kind of go back to what we did earlier up here at the top. When I say alternate interior, it means I'm only allowed to choose from my interior angles, the ones here that I have shaded in blue. Angles 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the only angles that are interior angles. So when I'm looking for alternate interior angles, those are the only ones that I have to choose from. So I'll go down here and I'll say, okay, for my interior angles, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which ones are alternates? And think about what the word alternate means. What do you think of when you hear alternate? Right, so alternate could mean you're on a different side or alternating sides. So if I went in here and I looked at angle 3, what other interior angle is on a different side from angle 3?
Angle 8?
6.
Interior, 6. 8's not an interior, 8 would be exterior. So 3 and 6, they are on alternate sides, different sides of the transversal. They are alternating and they are interior. And then I could look at 4. The other interior angle that is on an alternate side from angle 4 is angle 5. It has to be interior. 7 is not an interior angle, it is an exterior angle. So pay very close attention to that word, whether it says interior or exterior. Interior I can only pick from 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here on the inside. Okay, the next set, alternate exterior. So same idea, we're going to look kind of crisscross alternate sides of the transversal, but we can only choose from exterior angles. So exterior, that was 1 and 2, 7 and 8, the ones that I had shaded in green up at the top. So if I look at angle 1, what other exterior angle is on an alternate side of that transversal?
7.
Exterior
8.
only.
8.
8. Alternate exterior. If you say 5, well, 5 would be a corresponding angle. It's in that same general location, but 5 is interior, not exterior. So exterior only. 2 would in fact match up with 7. They are on alternating sides of that transversal, and they are exterior angles. Okay, and then last we have consecutive interior angles. So what's something that you think of when you hear the word consecutive? So consecutive, think one right after the other. If you are in consecutive places in line, you have person 1 and then person 2 right next to them. There's nothing separating you. So I'm looking for interior angles that are not separated by anything. So if I look at angle 3 right here, what's another interior angle that could be next to it that's not separated by a line and not separated by anything else? 5. Interior only. 2 is exterior. So I'm only looking for interior. 3 and 5 are one right after the other. They are consecutive and they are interior. 4 and 6, good. They are one right after the other and they are interior. So consecutive and interior.